welcome to second office hour of Caido. We try to do that every month, but we'll see how that goes. We're not super consistent. Really, the goal is to just share the progress with the community. Just if people ask questions, and we want to have guests, so maybe if Rhino Raider joins to.
Justin's there.
Ah, he's there. Okay, cool. Do you want to invite
Let
him
him.
to the?
I think you're the one who can do
Yeah. Okay. I'm
invite
gonna
to
invite
speak.
him. Yeah, invite to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Oh, that bugged out. Okay. Hello again.
Hello, hello,
Hello, hello.
hello, hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Nice.
Yes.
Dude, I've never used this stage feature. This is interesting.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
same.
So I don't know. We'll give it a shot and see if it works well. And I'm trying to my recording setup also see if that works well.
Sweet.
So yeah.
Do you guys have a specific thing you wanted to go over, or talk about, or anything like that?
I do have a few slides, but we can go over them or not. Or well, I would just like say.
Yeah,
We'll go over the slides and we'll see.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't take that long, and we can like just talk over it and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe we could also just present a bit ourselves. I don't think like everybody knows on the call, and since it's recorded, it's also a good idea. So do you want to start, Jan, or?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Ian. I've been doing like pen testing for 1-2 years with a company called Go Secure at the time, and then I've transitioned into doing bug bounty hunting for the last like 5 years, focusing mostly on web AppSec.
All right, and one of the co-founders of Kaido.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just like it seems obvious, but like yeah. And okay, Chris, do you want to give it a shot?
Sure. So, like you said, my name is Chris. I'm a university friend of Ian. I'm one of the co-founder of Caido too, and I've been doing software engineering and some CTF for the past 4 or 5 years now.
And it's nice. As for myself, also friend with Jan from way back in high school. Been mostly doing development work and also co-founder of Kaido. So we're three people, and yeah, been working on Kaido for almost 2 years now. So good progress. And we have a guest, so that's cool. Do you want to?
Yo.
Do you want to just give a small shout out?
Yeah, sure. I'm Justin Gardner, aka Renorator, and I am a Kaido enthusiast.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy the product. I'm a full-time bug bounty hunter, and really think that Kaido is the future of web hunting. It's going to be the main tool, I think, for web hunting. So really excited to be here and kind of working through how to make the product better, how to use it more effectively, and yeah, I'm super happy with the way things have been, the direction that things have been moving in, and yeah, happy to figure out how to use it a little bit better and make it a better product.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also if someone can keep an eye on the chat, I might not if I'm presenting. So just so someone is if someone is asking questions.
Any web app certs? Does OSCP count? Have one of those.
Yeah, I mean yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it talks a little bit about web apps in there.
Lots of self-taught or like
yeah,
videos and all that. I don't know. Like they're not. I don't know. I feel like you can learn a lot by just looking around.
I
didn't know Hack the Box is that HTB.
That has to be.
Yeah.
Hack the Box. I didn't know they did certificates.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, just before we get fully started, you can use the end signal if you want to jump on stage and ask a question directly, or otherwise the chat. Always we're not a big audience, so if you want to chat, just tell us and we'll bring it on stage. And we are trying to record the meeting. Last time we didn't, but we're trying to do that and putting it on our YouTube channel, at least for other people to see it. We're not a podcast, so it's mostly casual. But yeah, I know I have a slide for your podcast though.
Hey, thanks.
I just wanted to see that. Yeah, one big milestone we reached. I think this week we reached 40 per user, so that's exciting. Yeah, we launched like mid-January, so that's cool. And we're trying to bring more feature to the pros to make it more compelling. I think we had a great chat this morning with Rhino Raider.
We just started actually doing pro features with the added limits on projects and the new export features. So more pro user stuff to come.
Yeah, if I could hop in for just a second, I actually haven't used the export project feature yet.
Mm-hmm.
What is that looking like, and how can I use it?
Yeah, I can show it to you actually. It's not the export project, it's the export of request and response.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's kind of like it's the companion to like the history and all that. So let me bring that.
We've actually had
it up at the top. Export all JSON to CSV, JSON CSV.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So if I go in the tool history. Yeah, so export all is what you get as JSON CSV if you're a community user, and then you can then add some filters like, let's say, I don't know, method get. Do I have anything? Yeah, so then I can just export just that as JSON or CSV.
Nice.
So that's for pro user. And it's very nice. It's a very good segue into like, well, it's gonna be out of order, but that's fine. We're gonna go directly to Extended Link Finder, which did an update like 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, more than that, almost a month now.
Nice.
To be able to pass those export directly into the tool. So that's cool. If you wanna, I'm gonna share the slides with the links and all that to the post. So if you wanna check it out. Did you want to? I think we have the other in the. I don't know if you want to. Do you want to jump in and just say a few words, or just let us know? But like, yeah, it's pretty exciting to see at least some integration into other tools of the community.
Yeah, I think that's the first tool that has a Caido integration. Like actually seeing Caido mentioned in the docs is pretty hype.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I know one guy that did a Python API wrapper, like a library, a Python library to interact with Caido. I know one guy did that a while ago.
Is that public yet?
I don't know if it's public. I think so because he published it on PyPy, the package.
So we could do pip install Caido now. Is that it?
It's just the library though. It's just to interact with
the GraphQL API, right?
The GraphQL
API.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that could be interesting to build other stuff, but we have also exciting stuff that might be simpler for interacting with that soon. Do you use? Have you used the Extended Link Finder in the past? Any of you?
No.
I actually haven't.
That's cool. Well,
I'm gonna check it out though now that with that though, because that seems like it could be really good part of the workflow.
Yeah, definitely if we can build interactions. Did you request to see? Oh, he's on stage. The other's on stage now.
Yes, he is.
Do you want to say a few words?
No.
Present the tool. I don't know if he's hearing us. That's fine. Hello? No.
Yeah, I feel like his microphone isn't working.
Yeah.
So if I export, I'm just playing around with the export feature here. If I export the current rows, that's with the current filter on, right?
Yeah, and scope
Yeah,
also
exactly.
if you want to put a scope on it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that.
Interesting.
Yeah, the idea is like we wanted to have at least let people export if they want to as a free thing, and then just like adding a bit of incentive to contribute back to the project. So, okay, no worries. Your mic is not working. That's fine. I have to switch back and forth to see what is working. I might put. Let me put my Discord on my other screen. That way I don't have to switch.
So when I hit export,
Yeah.
should I see like a pending task in the exports tab?
In the projects, in the file. Export.
In the exports tab,
Yeah, sorry.
should be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Export
All
all.
right. Gotcha. Yeah, I may be doing it wrong. Let me see. Exploit current. So CSV.
It's working.
Yeah, I get the notification and it says like export test started. We'll notify you when the export is ready. But then it like when I go to exports, I saw the first time that I did it, but then the second time that I did it, it wasn't there.
Interesting. Was it pending or was it just not there?
It was pending
'Cause
the
if
first time, but then the second time it just doesn't even get added to the. Oh, there I go. I restarted it and now it's all there.
Interesting.
Nice.
So we missed. We might have a small bug there.
Let me see what this. I'm very curious to see what this JSON format looks like, though.
Mhm.
How are you guys? Nice. Look at that. There's like a raw, and then that's got the base64 encoded.
Yeah. We
Nice.
actually have the option to not have the base64 if you don't want it, but it's not exposed in the. But yeah, the idea is like the format. It has all the data that is inside of the SQLite database, basically, just in a JSON format way. But yeah, it can get quite big, so we'll have at some point the
Wow,
ID.
that's huge. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, it can be pretty big if you're exporting a lot of rows. So
I guess most of the people will use it to do some kind of analysis on the raw request in the first place. So that's to be expected, I think.
Yeah. That's why I think like it's pretty interesting to have the export with a filter mostly, because I think most people will use that. So. All right, let's get back in the show. It's the same file really, so it should like it should work fine with the Pro version. The question there. I think it's the only that you might have to like yeah, it's the same. It's the same output. It's just they are not outputting all the rows basically. So that's not a different format. It was a tricky thing to work with on the CSV because it's like it's a flat format, and our kind of request response are two objects in our architecture. Like the one request can be associated with multiple responses if you have if you modify them, they are all linked together. So that was a bit of a
just try representing
issue.
Nested data.
Yeah, nested data with CSV is not nice. So.
Jeez, that sounds like a nightmare.
Well, we just like prepended all because sometimes the columns are the same. Like I don't know, like some columns were the same, like length of, and then we said like okay, length is for the request, and then we're gonna do response length for like the response. Yeah. But I prefer the JSON version because it's so much easier to deal with. All right, let's keep. I added a link to your podcast because it's a very good one. So
awesome, thank you.
If you're not already listening to Critical Thinking, you should, especially if you're listening to us now. But yeah.
Is this the first of its kind? I don't think I've seen any other podcasts that are focused on like web app security and
web app like bug bounty. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's like it was kind of an underserved piece of the community, I think, because there were a couple of them that started. Actually, Donut had one. Sup,
Really?
Donut.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
Donut and Nahamsek did something a while back, but then it kind of faded out. And then I
Okay.
know Fisher attempted it as well. So we have been one of the longest running ones, though. And I think there's this other one called 0 Day Sec,
Okay.
which is actually, or Day Zero Sec is what it's called. And they've been running for a while.
Okay.
And so they're pretty cool. They do a binary podcast and a bug bounty podcast.
Okay.
So they're definitely another one to check out.
Yeah, one of the thing
Gotcha.
like the hardest part about like podcasts is consistency and just like
Yeah.
it takes a lot of time and then at some point you're kind of takes too much time of my life. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
It
hard
definitely like, having that pressure of like, yeah, we
Mm.
got to release every single week is, yeah, dude, editing is you really got to like not get too deep on the editing because you can get yourself in a hole there. And
It's
like,
never perfect in the end, right? You have to just ship it at some point.
yeah, no, I could totally see that, don't I? And that's, I mean, right now, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like find some producer that we can use to like outsource the editing piece, because then we can focus on what our, main goal is, which is
Yeah.
getting, producing high quality bug bounty technical content.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
we're working on
Yeah.
that best we can.
I know there
A
are
lot of
some
YouTubers
like
do that.
yeah. Lots of also I think there are some AI tools now that are not that bad to like cut silences at least or it's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be really cool to do. We're using some AI tools for transcription right now, and we're going to try to, use that and maybe even have AI summarize it, but
yeah.
AI still has this problem with hallucination,
Yep.
and like the last time I had it generate a summary of an episode, it generated some really like non-technical or technically inaccurate crap. And we're like, I don't really want to put my name on this, like.
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, it's
You
still
have to
got a
go
little
through
bit
the
to
whole
go.
thing and review it, right?
Yeah, which I mean, is admittedly less than having to write it yourself, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. One thing also I would say is having those contributors where you just say, oh, you have like I don't know, half of it is like outsourced to a columnist, or I don't know if it's the right term, or just like someone in the community
Yeah,
that
for
wants to
sure.
present something for. So at least it's reducing your amount of research you have to do and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting question. So, are you guys going to integrate your product with DevSecOps and security automation? That's something we're looking at right now. One of the things where we can jump back into those items, we can come back to ChatGPT. The workflow stuff that we're currently working on is let's start with the nice mockup. That's for like the next version of Convert we're currently working on. And it's gonna be like node based with eventually conditions that are running a bit of code that you can write, like Python code and whatnot. And the idea is like this underneath of that thing it's kind of a JSON format, a bit like that's our current format. It's likely gonna change, and it's a graph basically. If you have a bit of knowledge around that, of just like all the nodes that you place and all the connections between the nodes and how the data flows from one node to the other. And the idea is like we can take that and either you share it with friends that want to import it in their own own workflows, or you can commit it to disk like in a Git repository and then could run that into an automated fashion without having the whole like Caido server spawn. So that would be like a different CLI or something like that just for running a particular workflow. So that's kind of
What we're trying to do is like sort of make the whole automation process simpler. So what Image is showing right now is a plugin system that we're trying to create sort of an alternative to what we're doing right now in Burp Suite, which is like to code the whole thing in Java. So we're going more for a drag and drop type system. Yeah. Plugins. We've said it in the last office hour, but the 2023 is the year of the plugins.
Yeah.
This is
it's hard, but the idea, well, Rust-based plugin, that would be like for us.
You'd love that.
For us, like, what I was thinking is like we're gonna provide those basic nodes. So like those are nodes specifically for Convert. That we're probably going to let other workflows also integrate in. But the idea is like we want to be able to create a WASM plugin, let's say, that translate to a specific node in the processing phase of that, and then you being
so far so far we're going for Python plugins probably, JavaScript plugins, and then anything that compiles into WebAssembly, right?
Yeah. Python plugin is mostly going to be like small scripts that a node is going to be called like run this Python script, and then you can paste the code directly there. For custom plugins, like custom code, I think it's going to be mostly WASM based. In the end of the day, like if someone wants to code a WASM node that runs Lua under it, like fine, just do it. Like it doesn't really matter. But I think WASM is the way to go for us.
Is the future indeed.
Yeah.
Such a cool technology.
Yeah.
And yeah, the main reason being that we don't want people to, as much as possible, don't want them to have to compile for every platform we support, which is, at this point, I think we got 6 platforms that we target, and we're gonna have at the end probably 8 or 10 platforms. So like, imagine like having a plugin developer like having to compile for 10 different platforms. It's a nightmare. So with WASM, you can just like compile it to WASM and then it works. So that's kind of the goal there. Yeah.
You guys will create a flexible API for your project like Zap Proxy. I haven't played around with Zap Proxy.
Well,
so
we already have an API in theory.
Yeah, so what we have so far, since it's like a client-server architecture, the communications are already done via GraphQL API. So technically, you could already hook into that GraphQL API and play around with Caido that way. But we haven't checked Zap to see how they do things exactly.
Yeah.
Because I assume you could do a bunch of there must be a bunch of API endpoints for everything like DevSecOps, right? Can go every part of Zap Proxy. Okay.
Yeah, we should definitely give it a try. I think the approach is a bit different for us in the sense that everything you see in the Caido UI is already driven by an API. So in theory, you can drive it by another means. But the node system in the workflow system is a bit different in the sense that it's made to be incorporated inside. It's another way of like, instead of having those callbacks in a Burp proxy, in a Burp plugin, you say, oh, I want to integrate into whatever on whatever event that happens in the sitemap. I want to receive like this function call. I want this function to be called and all that. That's one way to do it, and the other way we do it what we want to do is basically, you have this interception pipeline where you have like, oh, it receives the request and then it adds it to the sitemap, and those are all nodes, and then you can plug nodes in between them to just add your own plugins or your own transformation inside of that workflow, basically. So it's a different way of seeing it. Instead of having like those web calls, it's just the logical flow of a certain pipeline. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, we'll see. My guess is like we probably might need still some hooks at some point, because for certain events, or maybe we'll need to create another concept for events like, a sitemap item was added, then we want just to react to that event.
Well, everything that's passive scanning will need hooks in some way.
Yeah.
I think we can represent it really, really well in a workflow type system like what we have on the screen right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. And what we want to be able is that you can share that JSON with anybody, or just eventually maybe via a Caido cloud service that we just let people share them. And then if someone else needs to install it, they can have also like if they have custom nodes that they need to install, that automatically can like you can say just download all the custom nodes from the Caido store, and then the end goal would be that you can then have some custom node made by other people, and then you just install them as a plugin system as you would normally do with typical plugins, but they are like nodes instead of being plugins. All right. Anything else to add there?
No. We've done. This is our first attempt at plugins, so
Yeah.
so we're looking forward to releasing this and have everyone try it out and see
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't.
Convert is the first piggyback, like guinea pig for that system, and then
Yeah, because the current convert is
yeah, it's
pretty.
garbage,
Yeah.
We need to make it better. But also, like, one thing with that is that since now the convert is going to be on the backend side, we'll be able to integrate the convert into other tools like the temper or like the replay and all that, and then just make it so that you can like say, oh, you want a base 64 like a parameter, you can just highlight that parameter in a replay, for example, and say I want that to be base 64 when you send a request. So
Basically,
like
a native version of the, I think it's called Hack Vector plugin. I don't really use that, but I think that's what the cool people use these days.
I mean, it's a nice thing. Like you can inject variables with that principle. You can do a bunch of stuff that is kind of cool. But yeah. Apart from that, what are we also working on? Do you want to go back to the news, or do we continue working? Yeah, we can continue. We are working on the ChatGPT integration for pro users. That's pretty cool. I didn't have actually an example, but we did some tests of like explaining us what this obfuscated JS function does, and it's actually pretty.
Yeah, it was 100% accurate.
Yeah,
I made my own like CTF style encryption function that encrypted something, and then I asked ChatGPT to explain the encryption and create a decryption function for it, and
that's gonna
did the
break
whole thing
CTF
properly.
challenges. Like now that I think about it,
It does. I haven't done a CTF in a while, but yeah, it changes the way people solve problems now. It's insane.
Yeah, definitely. Have you played with that Rhino Raider?
Yeah, actually, I have. Sorry for the
No,
slow
no,
response.
right.
I was trying to get back to XNL here about some issues we're having with the. But yeah, I got so XNL. Hang tight, man. It's like a 128 megabyte file, so I'll send it over to you once I figure out a way to transfer that. Yeah, to be honest, man, like I think that it's not what everyone's freaking out about. Like, for example, I've had some highly technical situations that I've been in and where I found a solution, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if ChatGPT could figure this out. And I start talking to ChatGPT about it, and it has no idea what I'm talking about, and like just gives a bunch of like pseudo technical garbage. And you know, but I mean, and that's sort of the nature of it as well. Is that, you know, its goal is to provide a text response to anything.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily understand the depth of these concepts and stuff like that. And not to say that it wouldn't at some point, but you know, I've brought it to it, you know, 3 or 4 technical problems. You know, even one of them was a code golf problem I was trying to solve just because I needed it to exploit, right? And I just give me some valid JavaScript that runs in this amount of, you know, space, and it couldn't do it. And that's, you know, that's on one hand a little bit reassuring, but on the other hand, you know, a little disappointing. So.
It can't play Hangman for sure. That we tried a lot.
Yeah. So, but I think it would be helpful, you know, in Caido as well, just to kind of give some guidance, and, you know, point out some things that you may not have noticed. So I'm excited for the integration.
Yeah. That's
The two, so like the two features that we wanted to implement so far are the right-click explain, where you highlight a snippet and then you ask ChatGPT to explain it, which, as you've said, it'll give you results, maybe not the right ones, but at least it gives you a starting point.
Yeah.
Another one that we wanted to do was give it a sitemap and then have it give you suggestions of attack scenarios to do, which I think that'll be something that ChatGPT will be more helpful with, because it's not deep, not very technical, but
Yeah.
you'll have your own personal rubber ducky to give you ideas on what to work on. So
Yeah, I think it's also really good at generating like looking at a corpus of text and generating some tangentially related words and tangentially related concepts. Um, and so I'm not sure I should really even talk about it on the stream, because I was thinking about doing a business for this, but it would be really interesting to see ChatGPT's approach to subdomain enumeration, and because it has a little bit more of a human-like ability to understand how the endpoints are, how the domains are structured. It can divide words that are just put right next to each other with no delimiter. It can, I even asked it a little bit about like, hey, what does this piece of the domain mean? And it was an acronym for a AWS region, and it knew
that's
it.
so cool.
And so, it would be really easy for it to build permutations off of that and allow you to enumerate some more assets. So that's where I think a
That's
big
interesting.
application is in the field.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
Project Discovery started making tools around ChatGPT. Don't know if you saw that. It's like
Well, they did the CLI that wraps a library. I don't know if I call that.
oh, true. It's
tool.
just a CLI at this point.
But
Okay.
yeah. But one thing
I
that
can
is
definitely see them doing that.
One thing that is interesting is that if you use the API, you do have different filters than I read that like last week, I think. If you use like the chat directly on OpenAI.com, like, or chat.openai.com, you're more filtered than when you use the API. So just a thing that is noted, you have to be careful of. But yeah. Yeah, and anyway, and the economics of it are like it's per token, so people are not that used by like how much a thing that you're sending cost in terms of tokens, but it's fairly cheap in terms of ChatGPT or GPT 3.5 basically. GPT 4 is very expensive in comparison.
Yeah.
It's like
no, we'd have to test it out. I don't know with 1,000 tokens how far you can go. If
like
you can use it like throughout the entire month.
Yeah, we'd have to check, but like we were thinking about 1,000 credits per month, where it's 2 credits per 1,000 tokens, so it's like 500,000 free tokens, and 500,000 free tokens is a lot. Like it's a lot. But like comparison, like for GPT 4, that's 60 credits per 1,000 tokens, so it's like, I don't know, 30 times more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely is a difference I've seen though between the two. So
yeah,
I bet it, but you may not see that difference quite as much with some of these more
lightweight,
lightweight questions and stuff like that. The problem is, like you said, it is token based. So if you're having it process like some crazy long HTTP request, or like, that's something to be aware of.
It'll get expensive real quick.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think our goal was like to be able to let people choose which model they want to run, and eventually add other ones in the tool, and just like subsidize it with the pro user basically as part of the pro user. And then if people do need more tokens, we can probably set up some add-on on top of the basic fee of pro user for that. Yeah. Did I have
someone posted a feature request to have the offline mode on Caido.
Yeah, it's hard to yeah.
That's something that we haven't really, like, we've had a few people mention that they want offline mode for Kaido, but I don't know how much of it is an issue really.
There's an issue for it. I think one of the challenges we have with this product is that we do want to allow collaborations with it. We do want to allow multiple people to eventually access the instances, and that's a challenge because if you're offline, then you do need to authenticate them nonetheless. And then for some reason, like the offline mode is a challenge for this kind of products that we want to be more connected to to online services. But yeah, that's something. Currently, what is planned is that, and what is already implemented more or less, we just need a switch for it. Is that you can be offline for 7 days once you've logged in, or if you refresh your tokens or whatnot. And I don't know if that's good enough, but that's kind of the approach we've taken so far. That we could allow people for up to 7 days, and also we do need to verify their license at some point. So 7 days was kind of like a good compromise if you're paying per month, and
Yeah, that seems good to me.
Yeah.
I wonder what's the reason behind wanting an offline mode in the first place. Is it just is it scared of analytics that just scared of having Kaido do some analytics in the background, or is it for like pen testing scenarios where you're inside of an enterprise and you need to be stealth or something?
Yeah, that's, I don't know. Never been in that situation, so like, yeah. The few people we've talked to that really wanted it is mostly for on-site events, and also making sure that you can use it if your internet is down or stuff like that. But then, if your internet is down, I'm not sure what you're gonna do. But unless you're like exploiting a local thing,
hardware stuff,
hardware stuff, yeah. So
anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's just not a high priority for us in terms of, thing is like with 3 people we do need to focus a lot, and stuff like that is very challenging, and to balance security, just like security and just like services, and then also being in offline mode, so it's not been a priority for us.
Does Kaido collect data analytics from users?
Okay, so the analytics part is only when basically it's calling API calls, and no data is leaving your instance, that's for sure. So no data that you collect in terms of the proxying is leaving your data, your server. What we basically just log when people are hitting our API, so we know how many users are active, basically, so we can have those metrics.
We basically just log, are you using Kaido or not?
Yeah.
At a given date.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And the logins when you log in, the instances are reporting when they are alive. And that's one feature we want to expose to. We have the data, we just didn't have time to build the UI around it to expose all the instances that you have and when they were alive. And the idea being that we want to, the concept of instances is very core to how Kaido works, and I don't think we've done the best of jobs to communicate that, I would say. But having like instances are basically the core where you're gonna be able to share the instance with other people and see like the analytics of your own instances. But yeah.
You should consider collecting feature usage metrics so you know what features are used most and how.
It's true.
I'd love to, but at the same time, I like the idea of not having any metrics for our users. It would probably have to be opt-in.
Yeah,
but at that point, what are those metrics worth, right?
Yeah. It would help us for sure to know like if people are using this stuff.
Yeah.
It's always a balance.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't mind. Like I don't feel creeped on if you monitor stuff that's relating to your own product. but I do feel creeped on when it's the contents of my testing. So
Yeah.
for example, like if anything about my target or anything about my the actual payloads that I'm sending and stuff like that were to get pushed out in analytics, then that would
Yep.
be bad. But
No,
if
for
it's
sure.
like, okay, 15 users have pressed the history tab in the last hour or whatever, like that's not something that I would even have. I would assume that is happening.
Yeah.
So
There's also like the whole debate of opt-in versus opt-out. Like when you do opt-in, you get very skewed data. Every company is gonna tell you that because most people will not opt in. So you do get a particular subset of your users. So that's why we kind of like stayed just the metrics we absolutely want, and we don't like. And we already collect anyway because you're hitting an API anyway, so we already have that data. So yeah, but we'll see. It's a challenge for every company that tries to be. We are very like privacy focused people in general, so we get the challenges, but also get the challenges of building a product. So that's hard to conciliate, but yeah.
With our customers too. Sorry, Chris. Like with with
Yeah.
the group of customers
Yeah.
that we have too, it's a lot of people privacy focused, right? So I remember when we launched in January, where a lot of the people, lots of people were saying, they found it weird that they had to log in to like a cloud service to be able to use a tool, right? So in that direction, I'm thinking metrics will probably be even worse for them, right? So
yeah, I mean,
I was just gonna say that one of the side effects of not collecting anything is that it forces us to have a dialogue with the community more and doing office hours and all that kinds of stuff. So
true. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a yeah. Skewed data.
That's also
right.
skewed,
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, everything is skewed at some point, but like
there's no winning.
yeah, you have to prioritize. Yeah, basically what your paid user wants. That's the truth of it. And I put the video of your latest layout changes also.
Yeah, this is a nice addition.
Yeah. One thing I want to see is like you need to put some marker that I can put my mouse on, because I hate when it's like, oh, your cursor is just not on the right pixel for the drag thing to work. But yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But it's gonna be a better system, and then we discussed that also this morning. I think to have more layouts that feel more at home for Burp Suite people, and then also probably a layout for people that are a Zap user. So if they want to transition to Caido, they have a more
just so that they don't feel
lost.
too much in unknown territory.
Yeah. Oh, come on. How do I switch? Oh, wait. Back. Okay, we can also put some more light-hearted things. I saw that the other day, like the Bitcoin white paper is hidden on every copy of macOS. I don't know if you saw that news.
I saw it quickly. I don't know where they put it in though.
I don't know exactly. It's like I think it's for the printer thing. It's like a test for the printer service or whatnot.
Okay, they used the dummy PDF document, which is the Bitcoin white paper. All right.
Yeah. Something
Nice.
like that. Find that a bit amusing that it passed the corporate seal of approval. I don't know. It's probably one guy like in a remote office that pushed that, and nobody like commented on it, and it just like went for like that many years uncovered. I think it's like since 2015 or something like that.
I wonder how long it's been there.
2018. Yeah.
Damn.
So that's funny. One thing that I saw also that was very interesting is the AWS pen test. Like that's kind of my specialty in terms of when we do CTF. I always like to do the AWS track because it's always funny to see how broken it is. But
The whole cloud stuff,
yeah,
GCP2,
I mean,
AWS.
I've done my fair share of IAM roles and policies and all that, and it's honestly impossible to scope it correctly. It's not possible. Like it's just not, because like especially in a large organization where you have like your the dev wants to code a new thing, and then they push it, and then it breaks, and then you don't exactly know which API call they're doing because it's like the code, and then so you don't exactly know which permission to give the service. So you always give more permissions that they need, and then you saying, "Oh, I'm gonna fix that later," and nobody goes back to fix it ever.
It looks like such a complicated platform,
Yeah.
like all of them, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one that's better than the other, but between AWS, GCP, I haven't looked at Azure.
I haven't looked at Azure. I prefer in general the GCP version. It's a bit more simple, but it's also more limited in what you can do. But yeah, AWS, like you can do everything, so it's like very easy to. Yeah.
Oh man,
Use
Dakiri,
Dakiri.
when are you going to remove the? Why couldn't we use it yet? There's like two bleeding edge features in it that we couldn't use or something.
It's still like using the. Yeah. It's like the problem is like we don't run on unstable Rust. We run on
7.8.
stable Rust.
Yeah, it's too much for us.
But even past that, you can pass you can pass that, but then also like you still have too many permissions to your service, right? Yeah, I know, but like I don't know. Like the problem is with Rust is those constant like some of those unstable features are like unstable for like 5 years before they get stabilized. It's so annoying. But yeah, that's how language. Anyway, back to the piece of news, the pen testing. It gave like from a pen testing perspective, if you can leak like those AWS keys, you can do a lot of lateral movement. But sometimes you do need to know like, because usually like it can happen that this particular user or a particular role that you leak the credentials for doesn't have all the permissions that you need to escalate. But you can impersonate others. So they give the guy gives like a few ways you can impersonate other services if they gave the right roles for that, or you can like jump one role to another, and usually that's how company gets pawned like hard, because they allow one role to jump to another, and then someone else later allows that role to jump to another role, and then that's how you can chain them. But yeah,
Makes me think of everything. Windows pen testing, where I haven't done much of that, but I know the concept of like pivoting from one account to another and escalating your privileges like that until you reach the top.
Yeah, but the difference is like it's very time sensitive, because all of those freaking accounts are like 1 hour. Those credentials are
those AWS tokens. You're saying, right?
Yeah, AWS stuff lasts for 1 hour. So,
yeah. Yeah, the most I've seen with that is everything related to SSRFs, where you hit the metadata server and you're able to leak whatever tokens were at the back end of these AWS boxes. But as soon as you get into pivoting and privilege escalation, I have to use some kind of automated script that does everything for me.
Yeah. Well, you do have to automate it.
It's way too complicated.
Yeah, but the problem with the automated, they can't automate all the things that you can do in AWS. So yeah, thanks a lot.
All right,
Justin.
See you, Justin.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can do a lot of stuff quite easily, and also like it. I don't know. I don't remember. I think he talks about like the account organization at AWS. Like you do need to, like, if you're doing a lot of pen tests on cloud infrastructure, like having a good understanding on how companies secure those do account segmentation is very critical because it's very complicated. Usually you have like you have an organization account, and then you have like at a bare minimum you have an organization account that's the main account, the root account, and then you have an identity account that deals with all the users' identity, and then every environment has multiple accounts for various services. So you might have one that deals with the encryption keys, the one that deals with the databases, and then they can. One thing that can trip you off if you're doing a pen test is like they have a guard duty or something that alerts them of suspicious activity. So if you're an account that does application runtimes, then if you're trying to like do something on S3, it's gonna sound an alarm. So you have to be careful about that. But anyway, do we still have time? We have 8 minutes. So another post that I saw a while back was for 10 Discord channels or Discord servers that are pretty interesting for hackers. So good communities, learning stuff for if you want to join more communities. That was funny. I think a couple of days ago that someone mentioned that we should rewrite Burp Suite in Rust, and then everybody says
That was so good.
that's funny.
Waking up and seeing like all those Twitter posts saying, "Did someone say Caido?" Loved it. Caido moment, yeah.
That was fun.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We're building a pretty nice community with all of you folks. Pushing to get Caido out there.
Yeah, that was fun. And then lastly, I think I had the newsletter. So a couple of good newsletters from Akluk. It was nice.
Yeah, started to join a few. There's also Jason Haddock's is a newsletter. I think it's executive. I don't remember the name. Executive security or something like that. It's there's a bunch of newsletters that I'm discovering. There's also Security B that I subscribe to. That seems like lots of good stuff there too.
Yeah, that's but yeah, I like reading newsletter, but sometimes you have to be careful. Like you're always enthusiastic to like subscribe, and then you read the first few, and then after that it's like you have too many, and then they just pass on in your newsletters. So you have to be diligent not to have too many, or
But I need to stay up to date on all of the latest research and stuff. Yeah. The last time that I've done maybe Donut, keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, the last time that I was actually involved in like the aware of everything security related was what was it? Request smuggling.
Yeah.
When James came up with the request smuggling thing like 2 years ago, but ever since I have no idea what new research is going on, what new web stuff is going on right now. So these newsletters are helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing's new.
I don't think nothing major because we still would see it, like it's all the typical stuff, but no.
You have no idea. You're out of that space too, Donut.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts?
No, but I appreciate everyone showing up and asking questions. If anyone wants to see like more stuff Caido related or have more opinions on Caido, like go for it. Like we're always looking for feedback on how we can improve our stuff. So
co-working sessions. That's do we do co-working sessions? We do internal co-working sessions.
What's a co-working session?
Like you just are in a Discord channel and just like chill there, and if someone wants to talk.
Okay.
I think
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my view on it, but maybe it's something else. But it's probably popular. It's pretty popular for like remote folks. Yeah. Also, there are some platforms I know you can like be.
Hold up a
Yeah.
sec, yeah.
Yeah. So you also have platforms where you can like sit on virtual desk or whatnot. That's what I know about those platforms. But yeah, otherwise just like co-working in terms of just sharing ideas, that could be interesting to have a channel just for that. As
Yeah.
not random, but like asking questions on Rust if you're stuck or stuff like that.
That could be fun.
We'll
I'm
think
just
about
thinking
that.
about every time that I'm developing and I need to share my screen. Since we're working on an HTTP tool, all of my cookies for all of my sessions and stuff are there, and I don't want to leak them to the outside. So
True. True.
it's like the worst product to do screen sharing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's true that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll think about that. We can set up a channel probably. Give me your cookies. Wait, what?
Let me cook. I'm waiting.
Uh,
That guy is. You want to jump
Are
on
you-
the stage instead of writing in chat? Like, all right. Can do that.
oh, right. It's slow.
Invite to speak. Let's go. Does it work? I don't know.
We've invited him, I believe.
So we invited him. I think he has to accept now. Is that it?
Mic drop. Yeah. I don't know. Worst case, we can take that offline if you want to talk to us. Like, we can create a channel.
I can't click it.
That's fine. Well, we can hold that thought. Write it down somewhere. Or I'm gonna create a channel for us to chat, and then we can. Oh, there he is.
Oh, it's working.
worked.
I don't know.
Holy
Hello.
shit, yeah, it was the screen share that was like over top of it, and so I couldn't click on the word accept.
That's weird.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, here's the idea. I don't know how feasible or like if this is possible, but I'm wondering, you know how like DRM content, for example, like if you're trying to watch a movie and you're like, oh, let me go just let me share
Uh-huh.
this movie with all of you on Discord. And we can like watch together, and then it's just like a black screen. You're like, oh fuck, this is so annoying. DRM content.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way that you can detect when screen sharing is occurring, and then you could just auto blur or redact sensitive, typically sensitive content in Caido.
Interesting. Like a streamer mode similar to what Discord does.
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
Kaido streamer mode. That's amazing.
It's a good idea, right? Because
Yeah.
like you have to share that stuff with people all the time, and then you just the only way you can really do it is if you just like implicitly trust people not to go
Yeah.
into your account, like drain your bank account.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that or just like even sharing requests in general. You always see that in the bounty space where people will post screenshots of requests and whatnot. To have that auto blurred, for example, would be cool.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Another good example is the screenshots, right? If somebody used a snip tool and they're like, "Oh, check the my request out," and then they post it, and it's like, bro, you didn't. First of all, you didn't redact the company, and second, you didn't redact your cookies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a market for
Ido
it.
capture, bro.
Yeah. That's interesting. We'll have to think about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we start working on collaborative stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's
There's going to be a whole new set of features that we're going to be able to explore with the collaboration aspect of Kaido.
Mm.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Let's leave it at that. And
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
yep. Thanks for that.
Really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll do another one in I guess in a month or so, if if we are all available. All right.
All right, ciao,
I feel
everyone.
like we're getting better at this. It's been less chaotic than the first one.
True. Yeah. All right. Let's call it
All
off.
right, see ya.
See y'all.
Yeah, thanks everyone.